and welcome to another part in the tutorial series for WebArch System by Textalk Media. This video we are going through newspaper and magazine guidelines. How should you archive newspapers and magazines? And these guidelines are very basic. It's the base guidelines, and any guidelines from the customer or your own custom guidelines will trump these guidelines. But these are so you can have something to start with when you are creating guidelines and when you are actually figuring out how to archive material. So the main rule that we usually have is that everything should be archived. Everything that is relevant information to have in the export should be archived. There might be some exceptions, and some of them are described in this document as well. You should always start with the most important article. We have looked at that earlier, and where the most prominent article is on the page, and that's true for both magazines and newspapers. Then you should click in a very specific order. You should click vignettes first, then headers, subheadlines, bylines. Might be a byline there, or you will have the byline last in the article. Then you click the lead, and then you click body text. You end with the byline if there is one at the end, and then you have image and captions and sidebars last. And if you have inline images, those will be inside of the body text. You can also have block quotes, but in these guidelines we recommend you don't click block quotes. Information about the editorial staff should be included and could usually be found at the bottom or the top of the page. And if you have multiple articles on one page and only one vignette, that vignette will be clicked with the first article, and then you click the rest of the articles. So you don't click the vignette as a separate article, you only click the vignette with the first article. So what is a vignette then? We can look at some examples here. I'm going to start with the vignette example. Here we have a few small articles in the top of this page, and all of these have vignettes. So we have aviation, resolution, surgery, defense, politics. So then I will click the vignette, headline, body. New article, vignette, headline, body, and vignette, headline, body. So these are part of the article that will categorize the headline, but it's not really a part of the headline. So that's what you click in the case of vignettes. Next example I want to show is this very simple article at page 11. And this article contains some of the elements that I talked about earlier. We have this headline up here, and then we have actually the author here. Might have some author information down here. And these are found if you press Alt on your keyboard. Then you have author, or author information, caption, and credits. So these are for images. And then we click some body text. And when we have done that, we click this image. And then lastly, we click this sidebar. And the sidebar, we start clicking that by holding down Shift, click the first element, and then we click the next element. And by holding down Shift, we get a separate sidebar palette here. And there you have sidebar heading, sidebar vignette, sidebar body, and sidebar lead. So you can choose those from the palette as well. So this is how you click a sidebar in an article. Lastly, I would like to show you how to click a subheadline. So in this article here, we have first a headline up here, then we might have a subheadline, and then we have the lead, and we can start with body down here. Or if we like, we can also click this as H3, these subheadlines down here, these headlines in the flowing text. But one thing to note when it comes to newspapers and magazine is that you have 3 headline levels. You have the first headline, you have the subheadline, and this is an example of a subheadline. The subheadline might not exist. You might not have a subheadline. And then you can click H3 in the rest of the magazine or newspaper. Sidebars have just sidebar headline. But those are the different headlines that you can have in an article. No other headline. Another thing I want to show you is when you have like this, when you have an image that you can click like this, and then you have some image text here. In this case, I can click that text, but we can have situations where the text is obscured by some other box. So some box will be in front of the box that you want to click, so you can't actually target the box. Then in this right click menu, you have an option here, send to back. And that will send that box to the background. So if I do that on this box up here, you can see that I can no longer target it because it's behind this image. But if I do the same with the image, it will become in front of that image and I can click that image. You take the box that you want to send back in the page that obscures another image, and you send that back, and then you can click boxes that are further back. You can also in this menu change, in this case, image types, because that was an image box that I right clicked. So this text flow menu here is for the actual image. Everything under this text flow menu here is for the image and is information about this image. Here you can see the export file name, the original file name. You can edit the image description, the alt tag for that image, and you can set the type for that image. If you want go one down here, you see that you have an article with one box. Here you can edit the article, view the log which people has edited or changed this article, and you can also change the type of this article. It can be an article, a teaser, or an advertisement, and you can unarchive that article. And lastly, down here you have a very nice feature. If you are training, you can use this feature down here to unarchive the whole publication. So that will remove anything that you have clicked in the publication and remove that from the actual data. But if we click this box as well and save it, then you can actually change types even on saved materials. And if we take a normal box, which is not an image, then we have different choices here. Here you can change everything from vignette or a regular headline, any one of these H1 to H6. You have bridge headings, you have leads, bodies, author information, image text and credits, and sidebars and block quote. And all these could be found in the different palettes. So you can choose these from these circular palettes. And then we have also notes, so you can choose annotation, endnote, footnote, or rear note. And these can be found under the annotation or the notes palette. And that could be found if we start clicking and press N while we click, we go into this notes palette where you can choose the different notes. Last but not least, I want to show you a feature that can be very handy if you have clicked a few articles like this. These are not correct articles. But if we look here, we have a set of articles in this list here. And let's say that I clicked these in the wrong order. So let's say that this number 4 out here on the right hand side should be before the number 3 up here. Then I can actually go over here, find article number 4. I can cut that article out. So now it's not part of this list. Then I can take feature or perhaps article here, but I can put that article below the article or section that I select up here. So if I select feature, I will put it below feature. If I select an article, I will put it below that article. And this is inside of each section. And in this case, this page. So if I want to put it below feature, I can paste that article in here. And then you see here that the numbering on this page changes. So we have article number 1, 2, and 3. So now we see a different order. And on this right-click menu down here, you can unarchive that article. You can set the article type, and you can edit the article down here and view the log as well. So you have some of the functions in this right-hand side menu as well. And on this section, you actually have the possibility to rename the section, but also unarchive the full section. And in this case, it's just a page, but a section could be a back matter or something, and you can unarchive all of it if you want to start over. So that could be good to know, that you have some of these features in different levels that you can do. Unarchive a section, a page, and so on, depending on how the system is set up. So these were some guidelines for newspapers and magazines, and some advanced archiving techniques that could be good to know. I hope you found this interesting. I hope you learned something, and remember, we are here to make you more productive.